lives I've done the last few. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. Today is not gonna be a conversation around life coaching or personal training at all. Those are two of my strong suits. This is going to be the spiritual mentorship. Um, and I see a huge dragonfly just went right past this tree line into my peripheral. It was by that disc, catching chains, whatever, for frisbees. Whoops, put it on the slant. Um, but I know my ancestors are present. The spiritual team is here, so even further confirmation. Um, I will be speaking from my psychic perspective, and I'm not afraid to say that anymore. I used to be afraid to say that I was psychic. I used to think that I would be targeted. I used to think secret societies were after me. I used to think people were watching me. None of that is the actual truth. If you're a psychic, you could speak about being psychic. If you're a psychic, you could show your powers. You could tell people the truth. The truth, though. The truth. There are people who misuse their gifts, and that is another reason why people go into hiding. And I just seen a black butterfly or dark brown. I just seen that walk right past or fly right past. So literally another confirmation. Cause I did a whole lap. My head has been. I had a conversation with someone today. We've been tiptoeing around each other because of the level and past history of disrespect and miscommunications, between me and another family member, because they're dating one of the family members from my family, obviously. But they were someone who tried to buy me a car in the past, and I didn't have the capacity to keep up with it or financially upkeep it because I was working at Chipotle at the time, and I sold it. Um, and I was living with a roommate, so the consequences were I got a bike after that, and nobody else tried to help me buy a car. And that was the stain on that relationship. Because of that one stain in the past, it's like, we're not gonna fully trust each other. You kind of build resentment for things. Hello to the people in the chat, but um, I will not be addressing the chat unless they directly ask a question from what I'm sharing, because this is what I'm about to speak on is like 10 years roughly. Actually, because they brought that up, they're like, I've been in a relationship with your family member for the last 10 years. I was like, wow, really? But anyway, it's not about them, is the point. It's about me and what I just lifted. A 10-year-old stain, a 10-year-old traumatic feeling, a 10-year-old imprint just got lifted from my soul. And so much information just rose up to take that space. And I said, I need to go on a walk. I need to go live. So I'm here at the park. If you're a normal, regular person who watches my lives, thank you. I appreciate you so much. It's really helping me to have people join my lives so that I would want to go live more often, to share, because I have so much spiritual wisdom and literally human experience to where I've been able to overcome the familial curse of not releasing their trauma and not healing mental injuries. Right? So that's the depth. That's the foundation of this conversation. So it's very serious, but I will be speaking from the spiritual mentorship and the psychic perspective today, because there were two signs of you're going to have a lot of truth come up. You're going to have an open and honest conversation. And it was spiritually told to me, they're going to let you in on everything and tell you the truth. Let them speak before you speak. Let them explain everything before you talk. And that's exactly what happened today. So let me tell you the two signs, and then the really big lesson, the juicy 10-year-old thing here. So what happened was I had a conversation with them while we were, because I'm helping them, and they're helping me financially, obviously, but I'm working a food truck to help this family member. And since I'm not like at a 9 to 5 or a job or anything that I can find with my certifications, I need to financially keep up with things, right? I need to do things in life, and in this life, in this current reality, you need money to move forward. Um, so I'm like, you know what? Let me put my pride to the side. Let me just do this, and let me go work on the food truck with them. And that was honestly one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, because it completely freed their spirit. It completely released the negative, traumatic energy that we were holding, and released it. And that's the other part of the 10 years of, let's just say 10 years of triggering. Not the full 10 years, but it's been many times where we've triggered each other. And just because of that one stain on our relationship towards the beginning of it, everything else after that turned to a negative intent. Oh, they're just saying this because they don't like me. Oh, they're just doing this because of that thing. Oh, they're just this and 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 this, without even having a conversation with them. Vice versa, like without me talking to them and asking them, and without them talking to me, we would just start to get into assuming things about each other. And that's where it starts to become low vibrational. I talked a lot. I think half of my lives now are about frequency and vibration and how it affects your mind, body, and soul. So the other part of why this is a 10-year-long thing is because I've just been able to release probably the fourth densest vibration that I've been carrying throughout my lifetime. Because I'm a victim, historically, I was a victim of sexual abuse and assault. And I'm a victim of circumstance, having moved around a lot in my life, being a military child, and then someone who had to depend on their family financially a lot. Not just, oh, I went off to college, got into my career, got married, and I just call in for holidays. Not me. I had so much CPTSD that I was not aware of. And since my family has the mental injury and not releasing the trauma, or not giving themselves an outlet to release their trauma, I had to be the one to go through these lessons to be different. So I've had to deal with a lot of dense emotions just to be the one, historically and in our family, to prove whatever that was wrong, to prove that mental illness wrong, to prove that hating outside judgmental person wrong, to prove that X wrong, to prove the church wrong, whatever it was, right? But that's been me my entire life as well. So the two signs, so I'm going to get into the signs now because it's almost been 10 minutes of me talking. But the two signs were, yesterday I was on a scooter, an electric scooter, around the park here and then around the city of Cache. And I was like, wow, this is so great, this is so fun, I'm working alongside with this person who's dating my family member that I'm speaking about. I'm saying, wow, I'm working alongside this person, we're getting along. And I told him, I said, wow, it's nice to be wrong about a person. And I said that to the family member that they were dating, because I was like, maybe I'm wrong about them. Let's just see. Let me put my pride to the side, put my ego to the side. Let me work on the food truck with them, and let me just put it, to the side. And I said, it's nice to be wrong about a person. And obviously, I'm not going to share personal details. I'm not going to share stories. I'm not going to share names. None of that, because that's not important. What's important is being aware and changing your life with that awareness. Because when I was aware and I looked at and I observed, I took a step back, I did things different than family. I paid attention to how they interact in relationships, how they interacted in their marriages, how they interact with their children, with their siblings, with whoever, right? And I didn't take on every single habit and action of my family members. Some of them I adapted to, but most of them I had to reject the way that they live life. And it was funny because even after we were when we finished up the food truck, we drove it back to their house. We're taking the rest of the food that was left over from the shift today, putting it away. Cleaning the pots, the pans, utensils, things like that. But we're having this conversation, like this really in-depth, gripping, emotionally charged, passionate, driven conversation, and we're asking each other questions. And then we're like, why I did this? Because of that. You know why this happened? Because of that. You know why they called you? You know why they this. And I'm like, wow. Because after that conversation, not only was I wrong about them and how they viewed me and our relationship, but I was wrong about the person, the family member that they were dating. I was wrong about them. Some of the subtle things I picked up on was confirmed by that person that they were dating. Even in the car ride back, they were dropping me back off at the house. We're still talking. I didn't even pay attention to the conversation, but we were talking for over an hour. Over an hour, from the time we were wrapping up in the food truck at the location we went to the house, into the car, into the driveway. Literally talking that whole entire time. But the two signs I'm gonna get into these truck passes. Yesterday I'm sorry, I forgot I had already said I was scootering around the city. So I was scootering around the city and I went and past the park. I'm like, let me just go through the neighborhoods. This is a nice feeling, high vibration. Let's keep it going, My hat fell off and someone picked it up off the street. I said, thank you, that's so kind of you. Right? I literally just, things are flowing, the energy is fluid, the energy is high vibration. I'm like, yeah, this is great, Let me just keep scootering. And I scootered right past it. It looked like a dead snake, but it was huge. It was past the church that people were walking to, and then into that neighborhood. But there was a church, and then in that parking lot, going into the neighborhood was a huge snake. It literally looked sun-dried, to be honest. I didn't know, 'cause I didn't slow down and look at it on the scooter. It was an electric scooter going like 13, 14 miles an hour. But I saw the huge snake. I said, oh my gosh. Like, it shocked me, right? But it was kind of coiled a little bit, right? It wasn't like completely elongated or shriveled up. It was like a little bit coiled and a little bit open towards the head. So I'm like, I don't even know if that snake was alive, but the sign of seeing a snake is a sign of truth and information, like rising, like the Kundalini awakening, if you've ever heard of that. If not, please look it up. Very important to your spiritual growth and your spiritual journey and ascension and elevation and high vibration, when you know about the Kundalini snake and the Kundalini rising and the Kundalini awakening. If you are a spiritual person, you have at least heard of the Kundalini once before. But it is the masculine and the feminine snakes rising within you and your energy. And snakes are also, in Hinduism, I believe Shiva has a snake around their neck or wrapped around their neck. I believe it's Shiva. I've said it before, but I will say it on this live. I have not read a single book on Hinduism. I just know about Hinduism from Buddhism and the little bit of research that I've done to where people are like, oh, this is where this came from, and then I did research. But if it's not Shiva, it might be Krishna, but there are but there are spirits that represent truth that have those snakes around them. So whenever I see a snake, I said, it's truth. Either truth rising or energy within you is rising. That's what the snake represents. A lot of people see the snake as fear because of that story of Adam and Eve in the garden and all that stuff, but that is not the truth. And the truth is actually represented by the snake. That is the truth. But anyway, you can even look up spiritual representation of a snake and something will pop up, right? So that's whatever's calling you in your spirit, whatever you feel pulled on, tugged on to look into it, right? I cannot dictate your spirit. But anyway, I saw that and I was like, oh wow, interesting. And then yesterday I actually got picked up from the shift early, so I didn't do the closing like I did today at the food truck. I did that yesterday with this person who's dating my family member, right? And they had said to me, they said, because I asked them about one of the sodas that they put in the window to show the drink selection. It was a Sprite that looked like it was almost completely open on the top, but it was like a big bubble, and then the tab part was open as well. So I was like, what happened to that? And he said when he was frying something, like cooking across from that takeout window is the fry cooking and like grease cookers, right? And he was cooking something in there, and the soda can exploded in the heat and hit them in the back and opened and fell on the ground. First of all, that sounds paranormal already, right? But stop and think, when have you ever heard of that? When have you ever heard of something like that happening? Right. So I said, wow, has that happened before? A soda can just exploded from the heat in the window? Has that happened before? He goes, no. I thought I got shot. And we had to laugh after that because it's like, wow, that's dramatic. The things that your brain will make up in place of not knowing the truth. It'll make up something much scarier to put in place of that. There are so many studies on how the brain inputs and kind of shapes something that would be similar to the truth, but oftentimes it is warped to be more detrimental. That's why I started this saying, I'm a psychic and I will speak from my psychic intelligence and knowledge, because what I was told and what I've heard about certain groups, certain secret societies, certain people that chose to use their knowledge and their gifts for whatever purpose, whatever intention, and that's what stuck to the title or the label of a psychic. Anybody can be psychic, anybody can be gifted, anybody can be powerful if they remain in a high vibrational state. It's naturally a part of our human nature. It's a part of our spirit. We are creators. We are conjurers. We are doers and makers of things. Okay? So anything is possible. That's another reason why I don't believe in mental illness to the extent that the public knows it today. And if I didn't work with my spiritual team, my mentors, my ancestors, angels, guides, ascended masters, beings of higher intelligence, whatever you want to call them, right? So many names, so many labels. But all of it is a higher intelligence, is a spiritual connection to something outside of yourself. Some people simply believe there's a lower self and a higher self. And the decisions you make every day, you're choosing, I will go with my lower self and be low vibrational. Or I could be choosing my higher self and be high vibrational. And choose a decision that's not going to be comfortable for my flesh, but it will be for my spirit. And I'm not saying comfortable as in, oh, this is good for my mind but not my body. It's good for my soul but not my body. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you feel like you are possessed, or feel like you are addicted, or feel like you are being controlled by something outside of yourself, it's comfortable to keep making that choice so that your flesh, your body is satisfied. But it could be making your mind uncomfortable. It could be making your spirit uncomfortable. So you make the choice to stop doing that thing, to stop eating that unhealthy food, to stop smoking that cigarette, to stop drinking and hurting your liver, right? And your body. All of it, really, but mostly your liver. So these are choices, right? These are choices that we can make, and it impacts us for the rest of our life. Confirmation right there. Literally, I'm next to a rescue fire station, and they have never opened the doors and just made a siren like that. I would turn the camera, but I'm so in awe of this train of thought, really. Like, literally imagine something that's been in the back of your mind for 10 years and you couldn't get rid of, you just got rid of it today. Imagine that. But anyway, back to the story. So that second sign, the truth is coming. A big truth. A truth that you fly by. A truth that you drive past. A truth that you sped past is coming. Slow down. Let them speak and listen. A big truth is coming. The snake. Then, in that same day, actually at that same time, around the same time I was on the scooter, was supposedly when that soda can popping happened. And I said, that's funny. That's probably your ancestors messing with you, your ancestors poking fun at you. He goes, yeah. And we kind of just laughed at it. I said, wow, you should tell that family member that, the family member that you're dating for this live. But I said, you should tell so-and-so that. That'd be a funny story. So yeah, we kind of just wrote it off. And then I said one thing, and then I said another thing. I said, you know what? I don't even know where this conversation could go, so I don't know how to start it. And then we just, for over an hour. And he was explaining so much stuff to me. I said, what? Oh, really? Huh? Oh, that was smart. Now, why? Literally, that was me for an hour. Thank you so much. So I'm really in awe because that conversation also helped me shift directions in my life. Because I was like, well, I got to do this, and I got to help this, and I got to... Wait a minute. They don't actually need help. They don't actually need me to protect them. They don't actually need me to assist them in their life. There goes that same black or brown butterfly right past. And I'm like, now, because the other part is, it freed up that perspective about that relationship. It changed how I saw that family member, and it helped me pivot to just releasing that from my mind, from my subconscious too. It's so much that was just lifted, I promise you. And I'm gonna watch the live back and be like, okay, am I making sense? Am I not making sense? This is coherent, like that type of thing. Because I watched the last live where I was like, oh, look at those birds, and the camera didn't even capture it. It was hundreds of birds that were flying over me during that walk. And birds in flocks, but in groups specifically, the way that they were flying is a sign of change too. So there have been subtle ways that the universe has been, hey, wait, hey, this is coming up, literally. And the more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, there was a sign there. There was a sign there. There was a sign there. Oh my, that was a sign. That was connected to this. Wait a minute. And I'm like, whoa. Like, I'm genuinely in awe because, like, obviously without all the details, you are like, okay, cool, this is a great story. But it's the weight of betrayal lifting off of you, really, in actuality. Because betrayal leads to self-hatred at times. But most times, that's just a symptom. The bigger thing is self-isolation. And look, I'm here with the winds of change as I'm speaking on this. And I'm looking over, and they still just have their lights on. A fire truck with their lights on, and just with the one shutter up. That is amazing, truly. Like, and this is how my life is too. Like, being a psychic, it's the fact that everything is connected, and there are so many signs that you will miss it. That's what they really don't tell you about being psychic. It's not that you know everything because you're connected to everything. There are signs. There are signs that help you. Oh my gosh, a fly was just on me. There are signs that help you understand what's going to happen and what's going to come up. For example, I was talking about the blood moon, the eclipse, the full moon. I was saying how impactful that would be. And either it was, from what I saw online, and at least, was either the day of or the day after, so many people were impacted. Today, at that same food truck ship, someone donated blood and they almost passed out completely, like out cold, almost. They got their order from us, took a few feet, walked to the food truck next to us, and fell. And literally fell. I was like, what? They were just talking to us, just ordered food, and they fell right after that. It was about 94, 96 degrees, so it was really hot too. And, obviously, people outside, us in the food truck, the two of us, the people in the food truck next to them, like, we were surrounding this person. We're like, hey, what's going on? We need you to sit up. We'll get you some water, paper towels. Obviously taking care of the person, right? But after we got them a little table to set up their food on, a little stool to sit on, he was just eating his food, and I was like, okay, are you all right? We were checking on him. There was a medic able to help them out, make sure they're all right. That was nearby, right? And I was talking to them, and they're like, oh yeah, I donate blood all the time, twice a week. I don't know what happened today. Literally, it's that lunar eclipse, full moon, blood moon, all of that just happened, and people are still feeling the effects of it today. And I was telling them, hey, the full moon affects everything that has water in it. And we are 60% water. So every time there's a full moon, 60% of you is affected. Really, all of you. But think of it like that. Think of 60%, more than half of you is affected by something that happens once a month. And it could happen a few days before, up to 3 days before, during, up to 3 days after. That's the effects of a full moon. For a psychic, you feel things before they happen. You see things before they happen. You get signs before something happens. It's up to you to tap into that, because what I felt, it was extreme. It was extreme. extreme on that Friday before, that day before it happened. Ooh, let me tell you. Some people say it was Saturday and Sunday, the 7th and the 8th. So I'm like, yep, it was definitely strong enough to affect everybody. So that's just an example. Like, that's something random. That's something none of us would expect. You don't expect someone, hey, okay, we're gonna work the food truck today. You don't expect someone to pass out. You don't. So that's something literally that shows everybody's impacted by this. And the fact that it was a full moon in Pisces is dealing with the emotions, dealing with your internal waters, your subconscious, your conscious mind. So also the fact that this blood moon, lunar eclipse, full moon, triple threat really is what I would call that. I would be sitting at my house doing nothing if someone were to ask me, hey, what do you think I should do during the lunar eclipse, full moon, blood moon? I would say ground for an hour and stay inside the rest of your day. That's literally the advice I would give someone if someone asks. But anyway, so yeah, that's literally just what happened today. So I'm trying to think. Yeah. What my train of thought before that? Hold on. Oh yeah, psychics and choice. So the choice you make in your life, you need to make it with awareness, because a lot of also what was coming out with that 10 years of releasing was releasing all the assumptions we were making about each other. And boy, let me tell you, you can paint a picture worth 1,000 words. Right? What do they say? And they're literally closing the door. The freaking fire truck, EMT truck, whatever it's called, they did not even leave the station. They just closed the freaking shutter. Oh my gosh. Another confirmation that I don't think that ever happens. They open the shutter, put the siren on, put the lights on, sit there, for however long I was talking, close the shutter. I've never seen that. And again, just like with the soda, how many times has that happened before? Do you know of anyone that's had that happen before? No, you don't. No, you do not. So again, things happen in my life as a psychic to confirm, oh, you were right. What you heard in the spirit will come to pass. That was a sign. That was a confirmation for what you were just talking about, what you were just thinking, what you were just meditating on, whatever. That's literally how my life is set up. Because I have just been able to release that number one spiritual weight, because we were painting each other almost in a demonic way, if you want to go into spiritual terms here. We were painting each other in a very low vibrational way with these assumptions and this lingering, what's it called? Resentments. So, first of all, the world is more balanced. Literally, the world is more balanced because a 10-year-long, whatever you want to call it, but a 10-year-long thing was just lifted off two people. And that's a spiritual thing. The world is more imbalanced when you get to a level, seeing eye to eye, on the same page as someone. When you do that with someone, especially if it was animosity or ill intention or negative energy, low vibrational energy, again, whatever you want to say it, however you want to call it, because it was that, the world is more imbalanced and the truth prevails. The truth prevails. It's no longer, it's my opinion, this is how I see this, F you, or this is how I see it, this is how I think, I'm not going to help you, whatever it is, right? Whatever the perspective is. But it's this person is standoffish, this person is standoffish, but we still have to meet because the family is in the middle. So it's more harmony, right? Physically, in community, spiritually, universally, it's more balance. In community, in the physical, it's more harmony. And third, I have a better relationship with myself because I know one less person in the world hates me. One less person in the world um, has animosity towards me. One less person in the or wait, yeah, that makes sense. One less person. Okay, let me rephrase that because I don't know if that was confusing. I'm sorry. Um, okay, yeah, one person in the world who did have animosity towards me does not anymore. One person who did have resentments toward me in the past does not anymore. One person who was sending low vibrational negative energy and gossiping and assuming and character assassinating does not anymore, right? So to me, I love myself more because I don't have that negative influence, right? So my mental is healthier, so my mental is clear, so my mind is sharper. I've made you can't even I can't even count how many connections I've made in the last half of this day just because of that conversation. It is now 5:55. Oh, what did I tell you? I'm so psychic. I'm so psychic. I'm so psychic. I'm so psychic. Literally at 5:55. And 5:55 is the angel number for change. Is the angel number for releasing the past and changing, releasing the past and making better decisions. 555 is the number for change. And yesterday, when that family member and I were talking, I said, "Oh, look at that, 555." Literally, literally, and that was my first shift with them was yesterday. So it was a lot of just talking about how to prepare and run the food truck. So literally the second day is all this deep emotional conversation. It's like, whoa, you know? And again, I said that was the best decision I've ever made in my life was putting my ego aside and doing the food truck. So, yeah. And I believe everything in my life is so intentional because I could I'm not saying like, oh, I know exactly what's happening in my life because something in the future will make it make sense, but that's literally how my life has been structured. This bad thing happened, okay, I gained knowledge from it, I had awareness, then something else shifted, and I moved in a different direction in life, and I was like, oh, that's why that was there, because I needed to be in this position today. Had I not pivoted, had I not integrated that knowledge, had I not used the wisdom from that experience, I wouldn't be in the spot that I'm in today, right? That's the same thing I'm choosing to do with this life coaching, personal training, mental health, spiritual mentorship, all of it. Like I genuinely like have business cards that say all three of those things on because that's what I'm good at. I was someone who had CPTSD. I had addiction issues. I had issues with lust, with attention, um, with um, portraying myself to be a certain way, even though I was less confident behind closed doors, or whatever the case may be. But I'm literally someone who used everything that I learned, all of my knowledge is what I'm able to help other people who've been in that same situation. Because if someone comes to me who's like, I'm doing this, I'm smoking every single day, or I'm taking edibles every single day, or I'm drinking, a 6-pack every night, I'm gonna be someone who, number one, isn't gonna judge them as harshly as someone had they went to, rehab center, um, a Christian-run hospital, a family member, um, all those things, right? Because they're not gonna outright in front of your face judge you, but they will behind closed doors, right? Because that's the thing in society. No one, okay, not gonna say no one. Most people have a rule, and there are so many unspoken rules. Oh my gosh! But the rule is to not say things in front of the people. Say it behind their back. Simple as that. You have people who are making food for you, talking mess about you and what you ordered. You wouldn't know that because it's a business, it's an establishment, it's an organization, it's run by professionals, by people who are skilled. So, of course, they're not going to just talk trash about people because that's not professional. That doesn't make them look skilled, that doesn't make them look good. But people do it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if someone who's gone through it before, they would be less judgmental in how to take care of someone who went through those same circumstances. And just similarly with that conversation with the person who's dating my family member, there are times where I said, oh, wait a minute, giving a little pushback because I'm like, well, let's not be too negative, you know? Because they're like, even though all this happened in the past, I still love them and I still want to be with them. And that's fine. I said, okay, then let's just, keep it at that and let's have a blank slate now. Because I told him, I said, this is what's on the front of my mind. So if you know the history and you want to keep track of things, that's fine. Good for you. I know. I was shocked during this conversation, obviously. But I have to have a blank slate now. I'm not going to keep tallying up what people are doing. I'm not going to keep conversations in front of mine. I'm not going to remember what people said, details of what they were wearing, where they were going, who said what, who bought this, who did that. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I have my purpose in life is to help people, is to give knowledge, is to use what knowledge I have. Even if I just learned, even if I just went through that experience, whatever knowledge I have, I'm going to give to people. But again, like I said in the beginning, towards the beginning of this live, this world is run by money. It is run by money. It's not run by knowledge. It's not run by spiritual virtue. It's run by money. Especially if you're in the same country that I'm in. Other countries are not so much run by money. They have morals. Do not pollute the environment or else you will be fined. Do not make these people work even though there's a deadly pandemic happening. Do not make these people have to buy triple times the amount of this product and what it costs when they could buy it here for cheaper, or when we could be more honest with our business practices, and not sell things for 3 times more than what they actually cost to make. Not in the country I live in. That's why I'm saying. That's another reason why I word things in such extremes sometimes, like no one, this and that. I am trying to catch myself with that too. So I do apologize. I don't want to make any of what I say in live come across as I see the world in extremes, or I view everyone the same, because I truly don't. I truly don't. And again, with that awareness that we're trying to find, we're trying to become so aware of ourselves that we don't need to be in other people's businesses. We don't need to be keeping track of what he said, she said, who bought what, who they were with, what they were wearing, what they said, were they lying, were they did. No. That scatters your brain a lot. That scatters your brain a lot. And the more you do that, the more you're keeping your memory and your emotions stuck. It's like you just put it in a net You just put it in a net. It's not chained, it's not locked down, it's in a net. You can remove that and let it go at any time. But you decided to catch it and put it together in a net. That's an analogy. Um, but you want to give that awareness that you're putting into everyone else's business and all the external parts of life and everything going on in reality outside of you. You want to put that inside. You want to give that to your awareness, because once you do, you will change. You will literally change. Give yourself a few weeks, give yourself a month even, but you will change. That's why I tell people, you may not be fully healed, right? But after you work with me, after you go through this programming, right? Programming, but even if it's with personal, even if it's with life coaching, whatever it is with, it's going to incorporate a little bit of everything, because that's what I'm teaching people is wisdom. When you have awareness of your spirit, you have awareness of your mind. When you have awareness of your mind, you have awareness of your body. When you have awareness of your body, you have awareness of everything, right? The more aware you are of yourself, the more you can control yourself. The more you can control yourself, the more disciplined you are. The more disciplined you are, the more virtuous you are. The more free-flowing you are. As funny as that sounds, but it will free you up in ways where you were previously caught in a net. Let's just say it like that. Because it also, if you're not disciplined, you can unintentionally make yourself suffer, right? Buddhism is the foundation of my spiritual mentorship, but I am a psychic by blood. It's not a choice. I cannot turn off being a psychic. Even when I want to, it's just more suppressed. It's not as bells and whistles loud in your face like the universe loves to be. But I actually really love those moments too. So that's why I get really excited when I'm speaking on something and a sign happens right then. Just like when I looked up and it was 555 and that siren. But anyway, I'm teaching people, even if it's just a client that says, you know what, I don't really think I need life coaching. I think I need the personal training. I would like to build muscle, and I would like to lose some of this other fat around this whatever part of the body is. I don't know, whatever, right? But within that, you have to look at their mindset. Why don't they feel like they can accomplish this goal by themselves? Why are they willing to spend a lot of money on a personal trainer instead of just having the discipline and doing it at home, or having an accountability partner like a family member or friend, right? And I'm not saying being a personal trainer is pointless, because people absolutely need that level of regimen and strictness to accomplish those goals, right? These are educated medical professionals, right? If you didn't know that about a personal trainer, that's what the title is. You are a healthcare professional. You are helping people become healthy and care for themselves. Healthcare professional, right? But even with that, even right. So let's go back to the analogy. If I were training a client with personal training specific goals, I would still have to go into life coaching and mentoring them, because it's how their mind is structured, right? Because everybody should know how to take care of themselves, but sometimes trauma happens in their life and they need life coaching to be able to take care of themselves. And that's no fault of their own. Sometimes you're a victim of your circumstance. Sometimes you're a victim of your environment. But people need help sometimes, and that's okay. But everyone should be able to take care of themselves. Everyone has the willpower. They have everything they need within themselves. There's nobody on this planet Earth that needs another human being's opinion to survive. There's no one on this planet that needs another person to do things physically for them, unless they were born without that muscle ability, right? I'm not speaking on extremes. Again, I'm not speaking on extremes, right? But people have all the tools they need to succeed within themselves. So once they start to have awareness of how to take care of their body and how to take care of their mind, then they will need less help externally. They will need less reliance on other people if they know it for themselves, right? That's why another good thing about awareness is if you know yourself enough, the world is not going to sway you. A toxic relationship is not going to sway you. If you know yourself enough, and for example, you're in a toxic relationship with someone who portrays you to people in a negative way, and they make up lies, they make up stories, they make up whatever to make you look in a negative way, in a certain way. If you have enough awareness about yourself, right, you would know who you are. You would be able to completely debunk those lies and, have character, have moral standing with yourself that you separate from that person. You say, you know what? I value myself and my character, and I respect the way that I view myself. So I'm not going to stand or stay, let's just say, stay in a relationship, but I'm not going to stand for someone close to me disrespecting me. And you slowly put your boundaries and your distance, and you make peace. There are some people who literally throw their lives away for a toxic relationship because of the trauma they were not able to overcome. Therefore, they had no awareness to harness that knowledge. They didn't have the awareness to activate that instinct that I need to get out of here. I need to be in a safer relationship. I need to change the way that I'm living because it's making me feel uneasy. It's making my body flare up with stress, and that's making my hormones off balance, and that is messing up the way that my brain functions, and that is messing with the way that I interact with people. All of it is related. All of it is connected, right? Like I say, your mind, body, and soul have to be in alignment. They have to be in alignment. If they're not, it literally feels like one part of yourself is fighting the other part of yourself. Right? I don't even know who my audience is, like with my demographics, but I promise you, if you are someone who's watching this live, watching any video on my channel, and you hear me speaking about these things and the wisdom, and you are someone who used to be an addict, or you are someone who used to be in a controlling relationship, or you are someone that used to be financially dependent on a toxic person, right? Or you yourself started changing into a toxic person because of the toxic environment that you were in. I also have that past. I also was someone who was trying to use people to get ahead. I'm not ashamed of it because I don't do that anymore, because I have that awareness, because I understood the value of myself. I understand the value of an individual. I understand that there are morally and immoral choices that we can make and decisions that we can make, and it impacts everyone. Like I was saying, that 10 years of, let's just say, unease, let's just say that 10 years of unease around someone, but still having to see them, still having to hear your family member, your loved one talk about them, having to be quiet during phone calls that you can hear, right? It's the thing about them still being in your life is what I'm trying to say. But right, 10 years of unease about someone you still had have in your circle of influence. Let's just say that 7 degrees of influence, that person was still in my 7 degrees of influence. So that happening today is a big accomplishment. And Spirit told me to share about life. And let me throw this away 1 second before I pivot. So let's talk more about Buddhism for a minute, right? Because even though I am a psychic person, right, that's, again, just a label, just one part of me. And it's so funny because people literally subscribe to me for poetry. Oh my god. But thank you as well to the people who have followed me from my live streaming. I checked yesterday, last night, and it was at 90 subscribers. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if you came from TikTok, this is the new me. I'm sure you are aware, but if you have never met me before, hello, my name is Jazziel, and thank you to all the new subscribers and people watching from live. I appreciate it. So let's pivot now with Buddhism. I'm wearing my energy, right? Let's speak on it. I believe in reincarnation. Whoa, it's a big fly. I believe. Sorry, that's a horse fly. I'm just gonna move. Hold on. I don't want to get bit. Okay, I just. Okay, it flew away. I kicked it. The bench. We're all good. We're all safe. So let's talk about Buddhism and reincarnation real quick, right? The beautiful clouds. Real quick break. Because this is actually the more serious part, but as I was walking around the track, I was just getting the information, getting the download, getting the channel, the connection, the spiritual download, as people like to say, right? But I was getting this connection about soul contracts and reincarnation and life, because I've been hearing just like about Kundalini awakening and spirituality and all this stuff online. People have talked about soul contracts, and some people's way of making everything kind of make sense, especially if you believe in reincarnation, is that your soul came here by agreement. So it's a soul contract. It's something within your soul. You can't physically rip up, tear it, burn it, nothing. It's in your soul. It's an agreement that you made before incarnating. And it is agreements on how your life would go. And you don't agree to something that you don't think you're capable of. So no matter what you go through in life, you agreed to go through it because you knew you were capable of transforming your life through that pain. So some people, especially because Buddhism, again, is just a label too, but ultimately, if you were like, okay, Buddhist, psychic, alchemist, like alchemy is at the top of what I believe, because again, I'm someone who took my past, changed it, and was able to create wisdom from it, right? Power from it. Okay? And I'm letting the wind pass just so I can make sure the audio is clear with this, because I need this to be the main piece of this live too. But some people believe that your whole life experience is to just transform yourself into the best possible outcome, or I don't want to say the most rewarding outcome either, because it's not like you're just doing this for a reward, but it's like you're doing it to prove almost that you're capable of changing it, or you're capable of transforming it, right? So for me, that actually helped almost like, fire extinguish some of the mental imbalances that I was dealing with looking into different philosophies and different spiritual practices and things. It's like that actually makes the most sense, because the thing about, why do bad things happen to good people? Why do good things happen to bad people? Why is this happening? That's not fair. This is fair. Right? Things like that. But if you take the lens, excuse me, it's very windy, so it's skiing right now. But if you take the lens of, let's just say, for example, where people say, why do bad things happen to good people? Right? And if someone were to ask me that, right, I would say, for you to be able to transform into a better person. And let's give an example of that, right? Let's just say you go to work and you hate your job. Okay, every day you go to that job, but you have to clock in because you need a job, right? But one day there's someone who slams the door behind them. You don't catch the elevator, you're late to that meeting, like all these bad things happen, boom, 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 one after another, to the point where you get upset and you quit that job. But then in your job search, you go, I don't want to work in this environment, I don't want to deal with this, that, and everything at that bad job that you dealt with, you don't put up with in this new job. And the new job works out for you more because you had that experience, those bad experiences, whatever it was, but you had that bad experience at that old job to now know what to not look for and to value that job that may be mediocre, but that job elevated because it was better than the last one that you were at, right? So even if someone came up to me, they're like, I got this to deal with at work, someone slammed the door in my face, I missed the timing for this deadline, blah, 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 I don't get any help at work, whatever, right? But they quit that job, they had the awareness, they respected themselves, and they found a job that fits them better. That's an example of something bad happening to a good person, but they were able to transform it into something good. Right? Good? So, let me try to think of another example of something bad happening to a good person here. Let's just go with my personal background, right? Something happened with sexual abuse that led to addiction, that led to a mental breakthrough, and then I had the discipline enough to want to help people quit addictions because of that mental breakthrough, because I wanted to be better. And then, let's just say, right, hypothetically, I create a career around addiction rehabilitation, holistic health, addiction counseling, stopping addiction, right? Replacing addiction with something else, right? Whatever it is. But that's an example of using something that is really bad that happened to you and making it into something better, right? And that is what alchemy is. Transmutation is actually the process. There's a scientific definition and everything behind that, but you could do that as a human being. It's not just the elements turning rock into gold or whatever they want to say. It's literally, that's a metaphor for you. You can transmute anything you went through that was bad and take the knowledge from the experience and turn it into wisdom. How you turn knowledge into wisdom is you take excuse me, you take inspired action and you move forward, you choose to not be like the past, not repeat the past, not have that same thing happen to you if it was something that wasn't a choice of yours, but you choose different. You live different. After the experience happens, you say, excuse me, another confirmation. I'm literally getting confirmations left and right. Excuse me. How you turn that knowledge into wisdom is you help people. You lead by example. You show my life is different now because of this experience. I remembered this experience. I had the awareness from the experience. Then all of that became knowledge, right? All of that knowledge transformed me to live differently in my life, transformed me to take different actions, transformed me to think differently, transformed neuroplasticity in my mind, made me want to take better care of myself, made me have more respect for myself from that terrible experience. I'm going to act on that. I'm going to teach people how to live differently. I'm going to make sure that person who looks like they're going through the same road that I went down, I am going to help them choose a new path. I'm going to help them go to the left instead of the right. Where the roads diverge, I will help them choose the better option. That's what I mean by that. And when you take the knowledge and turn it into wisdom, you are now ascended. You have ascended past whatever that is. You've ascended past your pain. You have ascended past trauma. You have ascended past low vibrational energy. This is why awareness is so important, because it could take lifetimes to create that awareness. It could take your grandchild teaching you as the grandparent. It could take that long, that many generations to unroot the trauma, to unroot the negative influence, to uproot low vibrational energy. And this is what I'm saying about going back to soul contracts, right? If you didn't think you can transform it, you wouldn't have signed up for it. You wouldn't have signed up for it. And that's another thing with life coaching, spiritual mentorship, personal training. You are not a victim. You are not a victim of anything. You are not a victim. There is nothing outside of you that has control over you. You control yourself, you dictate your spirit, and you align everything yourself. Right? There are people that help you. There are people that guide you. There are people that give you experience, but it is up to you to choose. Am I going to choose what my ego wants me to do, or am I going to choose what a healthy, healed, ascended version of me wants to do, right? Going back to that simple view of life. You either choose your lower self, your ego, your attached self, or your free-flowing, higher self, high vibrational, detached self. Attachment, that's as well another Buddhist teaching. Attachment is the root of suffering. Let me say that again. Attachment is the root of suffering. That is a quote from the Buddha, from the historical Buddha, I believe. Again, don't quote me on that. Look it up for yourself. But that is a direct quote, and that is a lot of the teachings and principles of Buddhism, the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path. Look into it for yourself. But those are to stop suffering. The Four Noble Truths are: suffering exists, suffering causes attachment, and attachment causes suffering. Suffering is optional, and the Eightfold Path is the way to stop suffering, right? If everyone was a Buddhist, there would be no conflict, because there would be no internal conflict, right? If you have conflict with yourself, you have conflict with others around you, right? right? And if you don't go through your trauma, which lives in your fascia, which again, if you're gonna be a client of mine, that's literally how we're talking. Everything connects. What's in your fascia, what's in your body, what's in your muscles and your tissue creates a trigger emotionally and mentally. And what you do mentally is how you feel in the spirit, is how you interact with people. How you interact with people affects your spirit. So what's done in the physical affects your spirit. It's linked, it's together, it's connected. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. Oh my gosh. There was a spider on my sock. I literally just wanted to scream. Oh my gosh. But there's a lot of bugs around this area. Honestly, I'm gonna move. Okay, I don't like spiders. I'll be quite honest. I do not like spiders. He was just chilling on my little red sock right there. Scary. But everything you do is related and connected. Right? Whoop, let me move this tripod. Hold on 1 second. 1 more second. Okay, there we go. So everything that you do is connected, right? In 20 years, I'm gonna be so successful because I've been able to prove, like, in the future. But all of you are my witness as I say this. I'm gonna be able to prove how everything is connected in your body. Everything is connected. Your mental, your physical, your spiritual. It's all connected. All of it. Literally all of it. So yeah. It's kind of my whole thing. I see a little water bottle in this grass. I'm about to pick up. Oh, look at that scary bottle. Yeah, everything is connected. Literally, everything is connected. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. And the other thing that I want people to know, and I'm declaring and dictating it with my power of the tongue, right? You bless or curse anything. Bless or curse anything. Bless or curse anything. So when you have that awareness, and even if your life or your circumstances did not change whatsoever, you can still speak life into yourself. You speak life over yourself. You can bless your own life. Did you know that? Did you know that in personal training and life coaching, it's literally giving people willpower? With your chakras, it's your solar plexus and your sacral chakra. And obviously your root chakra too, but I'm saying with the willpower specifically, that's in your sacral chakra, your stomach, your GI tract, your gut microbiome. All of it is connected. If you don't have a strong willpower, you don't have a strong grasp on your life. Let's just word it that way. Because again, I do not look down on anyone who is coming to me as a client or just advice. I'm never gonna look down on someone. Never. Because I am a professional. And that's that. That's literally it. Literally it. That's all. And the other part about soul contract, so let's go back to that. So if you want to look at your life that way and say, I have all these experiences, all these things are happening to shape me into the person that I need to become, right? You will look at life differently, obviously, but you will react to life differently is what I really mean by that. You will start to react in a less attached way. Right? Release that attachment, release that suffering, right? Right? You will react in a less attached way to life. You will react in a way that lets things play out more. You will not make assumptions anymore, right? You will not try to control outcomes, situations, people, circumstances anymore once you learn that. Or let's just say once you adopt that perspective on life. Okay? Another thing is with soul contracts, it also, for the people explaining it, it was saying that it's a thing about why people don't remember who they are when they come here from past lives, because of that soul contract, because of that agreement that they made with themselves in a way, but it's an agreement that they made. And then, as their life unfolds, they start to see it. They start to see it play out, right? And when you change that perspective or that lens that you have on life, and you say, you know what? Me getting fired from this job was intentional. That person breaking up with me, even though we live together and we're financially married, right? Sharing everything, right? Married, half and half. That person breaking up with me, even though we're financially dependent on each other and we're seeing each other every single day, that was intentional. That's meant to shape me into a stronger version of who I used to be, so that I changed the mindset that I need to become dependent on others to get my financial needs met. So you release that mindset of that limiting belief. When you look at the things that happen to you that are negative in a positive way, or a more positive way than you would have if you were just approaching it as a negative experience, less and less negative things happen to you actually, because you're not so much focused on it, right? Another thing about alchemy and transmutation and alchemizing energy is that you could change anything into a high vibrational energy if your attention shifts the energy. If your attention is still, oh, I got fired from this job, I can't have stability in my life, I can't rely on myself, I can't do this, the world hates me. You see how that trickles and avalanches into low vibrational thinking, limited beliefs, limited thinking? You're not creating anything for your life. You're actually putting yourself from the creator to the destroyer, which is another part of why I take everything when it comes to mental health as spiritual health, because we're not meant to be destroyers of anything. That's naturally what happens in life. Life naturally changes. It goes through death, life, and rebirth cycles. 3 cycles. You're either in a death cycle, a rebirth cycle, or a cycle of change. That's it. Life, death, and change. Right? View your life simply. Look at your life in simple terms. If you're someone who is high vibrational, who is positive, who speaks life over themselves, who takes the experiences of pain and transforms them into knowledge, then you will have what? Right. You will have higher vibrational experiences because that's where your attention is going. Right? I don't want to sound like I'm coming off as judgmental, but for people who are depressed, manic depression, clinical depression, um, um, I don't know all the medical clinical terms for it at this moment. That's something I should write down and talk about, actually. But excuse me, confirmation. Whatchamacallit? I was just thinking about something, and then I looked at I looked at someone outside and distracted me for a brief moment. Their neon shirt, vibrant colors. Okay, yeah. So again, literally, where your attention goes, your energy flows. That was a great example to put me right on track. I was looking at someone and their shirt, and I was distracted. I was looking in that direction, looking around, and I got distracted because that's where my energy went. That's where my attention went. Right? Same thing with energy. Low vibrational, high vibrational, it doesn't matter. If you give high vibrational energy consistently in your life, you will attract more high vibrational experiences. You will attract more high vibrational relationships, right? Versus low vibrational. You will attract low vibrational experiences, low vibrational people, low vibrational thoughts, limiting thoughts, right? Binding thoughts. These are things spoken in so many religious holy texts. They were given in analogies, they were given in examples, but it's true with mental health. It's true. It's all true. It's just worded differently because knowledge is power. Knowledge is high vibrational. Same thing with money. Money is a tool. You could use it in a high vibrational manner and impact people very quickly. Or you could use it in a low vibrational, negative manner, and it will affect people in that way. Same thing with magic. It's the intention that you're putting behind it. It's the energy that you're putting behind it. Because even if you don't think it exists, look around you. There's a whole big world. Okay, someone else might think it exists. And try it. And go through their life. And learn about energy, alchemy, all of that things. They have to learn it for themselves because of their experience in life from their soul contracts. And if that's what you want to believe, boom, 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 it makes sense. It makes sense. It answers all the questions. It does. So for me, I personally don't have one belief system. There's knowledge within all of them. Truly. That's why they say with knowledge is power, but in because I was raised like a lot of people, Christian fundamentalist, Christian extremist. So the way that they view the world is very different. Actually, very different than the original holy text, but it was translated a lot. So a lot of it with Islam. Islam is a lot more structured than Christianity. Never mind. But there are extremes on all sides of humanity. Is the point? Because humanity is a spectrum. But again, it's those people's individual experiences that shape something. Right? That's how everything is made. You have to create and mold and shape to get a final product, to get the desired product, to get something you could use it as, right? If you want a circle and someone gives you a rectangle, you gotta do a lot of molding and shaping and craftsmanship. But at the end of it, you're going to get a circle. Same thing with a soul contract, right? If you came into this world and onto this earth as a square, but you know, and the creator knows, and your spirit knows, for a degree, that you, in your life, in your soul contract, you would go from a square to a circle, you would have to have experiences that cut your corners, right? You would have to have experiences that turn the confirmation right there. I don't know if y'all heard that, because that sounded like a trash truck just dumping something. Anyway, so many things happening, right? The life of a psychic. But you would have to have that experience of going, and life, right? Let's just say life, the universe, life, taking you from pointy, squared, sharp edges to creating smooth, circular, rounded movements for you to become that circle. And at the end, you get the circle. However long life takes you to learn that lesson, to become that circle, right? You have to go through a lot of experiences. You have to go through a lot of molding to change shape, right? If you've ever worked with clay or pottery, you know if you make one small hand movement, it changes the entire shape and look, aesthetics of the pottery, right? If you haven't, you could look up videos of people, like, you know, with the little spinny circle where you have to like step on it and it goes in a circle, and then you have wet hands, and then you mold the clay from your hands and the speed of the circle moving. And that's another thing too. Life can slow you down or speed you up, right? Clay, actually, making pottery is a perfect example of that. But it can slow you down to have that awareness, to isolate you, to remove you from people, to look at your life and put it together. Or it can speed you up and say, this is your experience, this is your experience, here's another experience, here's another experience, here's another experience. Boom, 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 boom. And put it all together for you, right? But that's something that you agreed to, quote unquote. Your soul agreed to. You were capable of it before coming to Earth, before coming here, before incarnation, to learn this lesson. So your next incarnation, you won't have as many lessons. This is the caste system, or the spiritual system of karma. Karma is simply based on your actions and your vibration in the metaphysical term. But it's based on your actions. So some people look at karma and they're like, karma's evil, karma's a bee, karma's, you know, has a negative connotation to it. But some people are like, oh, that's your karma, that's your good karma. For example, someone paying for someone's order at the drive-thru behind them, right? They're like, oh, they'll pay it forward, they're good karma. Look at this cute little baby toy, it's a tulip. But yeah, you have people who view karma in such a negative way because they didn't learn from their experiences, or they had such a negative experience to where they view karma and their life experiences as negative instead of learning the lesson. Yeah, you're welcome. Got a strong arm, they hit the ball out of the court there. Oh yeah, karma. So people sometimes don't learn the lesson. And the karma, the karmic people, the karmic relationships, the karmic accidents that keep happening, that relationship that just doesn't quite seem to respect you, but shows up in different ways, right? That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about karma. Karma is, or karmic, literally means lesson. Literally means lesson. If you didn't learn the lesson, you will have more lessons and more experiences in your life to give you an opportunity to learn the lesson, right? It's no evil being, right, following you around, making your life miserable for no reason. It's no narcissistic God in the sky going to judge you and condemn you forever based off of rules before you were alive. It's not the truth at all. It's not the truth. Karma can be good, or karma can be rewarding just as much as karma can be bad, negative, right? Whatever you want to label it, but karma literally means lesson. That's why on the third B is Dharma. They say you have your Sangha, which is your community. You have the Buddha to look up to, which is the big deed. Most of the time it's in the middle. But you have your community, the person to look up to, the ascended master, the awakened being, right? Savior to some people. And your Dharma, which is your good karma, which for people who are Buddhists, they believe, there's a few different schools, there's 4 different schools, but for the most part they believe in a universal thing of karma and reincarnation and about discipline. And there are people, again, just like with Christianity, anybody can be Buddhist. Anybody can be a Buddhist. It's not a religion, it's a way of living life. The Eightfold Path, 4 Noble Truths, those are the pillars and the things that explain the way of life. But it's not a divine punishment if you don't live your life. You'll just reincarnate until you learn the lesson. And after you've learned all the lessons and you've learned your karmic things that you need to learn in this lifetime to shape you to be that person who uses the wisdom from the karma, from the experiences in life, from the trauma. And we only say trauma because we're humans. Like, if we didn't have this emotional attachment to things, it wouldn't be trauma. It'd just be a life experience. So there's many ways you could take a lens and put a perspective on your life, but for the most part, if you live your life in a way that is not harmful to others and that promotes high vibrational exercises, like them, they're doing great exercise right now. I didn't even hear them. That's the funny part. Yeah, so you will attract a life of harmony and peace and not suffer. Okay? And then apparently all religions and philosophies believe that there is some sort of ascended peaceful way of living, or living after this life, or heaven, or some form of bliss and peace. But to me, I believe, and again from my experiences, but I believe that heaven or hell is literally a mindset. Literally a mindset. When you're in a very low vibrational state and you're isolated and you have a lot of trauma to the point where it blinds you, right? Then that could be considered hell to someone. It could be, right? And then what did I just talk about? Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And since we are all creators, we are not meant to destroy. We are not meant to destroy. We are not meant to destroy our minds. We are not meant to destroy relationships. We are not meant to destroy connections. We are not meant to destroy the environment. We are not meant to destroy where we live. Nothing. 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 We are not meant to destroy anything on this planet. Okay? The animals, the plants, the insects, the birds. Even though I was just talking about the horsefly and the spider. Put that aside, please. I'm talking big picture here. We are not meant to destroy anything. This mullein, it has the power to cleanse and release toxins from your lungs, release mucus that is built up in your airway, right? But let a landscaping gardening company come around and need to cut the grass, they're gonna cut over that mullein. They're gonna destroy it because they don't value nature. They don't value plants. They don't value the earth and all of the plant benefits and nutrients. Because they work for a company that's low vibrational. So they carry out low vibrational activity. If you're on an earth, on a planet that you need to sustain you, and it's literally plants, and we need plants to survive and heal us, destroying a plant is low vibrational. Yes, that's the connection, if you're wondering. Look at the beautiful sun. It's about to come from the clouds. So beautiful. But yes, that's why I'm not worried about working at all. Because what releases itself from your life, or what removes itself from your life, is meant to be. Is meant to be. It's the experience and the information that you learn, the knowledge that you turn into wisdom, and that wisdom that you help yourself. Well, you ascend, first of all, you ascend yourself from wisdom, but then after that, you help others ascend. And that is life. When you try to control life, you try to predict life, you try to be everything your ego wants you to be, you lose your life. You lose it. You do. I promise, you lose it. And when you're not in control of your life, that's when chaos happens. So we are not meant to bring chaos. We are not meant to control. And we are not meant to destroy. Excuse me. If you are someone who feels like, excuse me again, you are someone who feels like they've been called to heal. They've been called to speak. They've been called literally to, man, I hope y'all heard that motorcycle go right after I said that. If you're called to speak or to heal or to be a pillar in your community, you need to do that. Whatever wisdom you have, share it. It's not about having, it's not about looking a certain way of success. It's not about pleasing your family members or your partner or your spouse or your best friend. It's not about being in competition with anyone, actually. That goes back into control. If you're trying to compare yourself and control and show off this certain way you live life, that's your ego. That's low vibrational. That's energy that's dense, that scatters your mind. And I'm telling you, it's all connected. And that, again, is why I say, I may not be able to heal you, me, but I give you the knowledge that makes you able to heal yourself. It's not me. It's me guiding you. It's me teaching you. It's me just making you more aware. Just making you more aware. Let's just put it like that. Because if I were to come with a crazy ego and say, well, I know more than these people, I'm better than them. Or if I were to say, well, I'm making I didn't even want to do that. See, that's how much I'm dissociated from that part of myself, or that version of myself, because I genuinely don't even want to say out loud that I'm better than others. Honestly, I don't. I may move differently that is smarter. I may have less mistakes than someone else. I may make less errors. I may be more disciplined, but I'm not better than. Because again, conversation, back to soul agreements, back to the conversation around soul contract, soul agreement, karma. I don't know what happened in their life. Again, that person may be messing up and missing the signs in their own life and putting themselves further into chaos because their soul is meant to live this way for half their life, and the other half of their life is when they change, they learn lessons, they let go, and they detach, and they release that suffering, right? But I, looking from the outside, may be like, well, I'm 26 years old, and I didn't make that mistake. They're older than me. I'm 26 years old, and I'm a family member to them, and I didn't do that. I didn't make that mistake. Or, well, I'm younger than them, and they're older than me. They should know better. Why do I have to help them? Look at that beautiful sun. It came out right as I'm finishing this I want to say monologue, but thought process, really. As I go on this walk, I just also wanted to get away from the park because of the people. I kept getting distracted, honestly. So I do apologize about the noise of cars passing by or what, motorcycle, whatnot. But I'm just gonna walk into this neighborhood really close and then finish. But you may be making all these excuses about why you don't want to help someone or you don't want to lower yourself to them, right? But what I'm telling you, what I'm saying is the wisdom is needed, right? Even the knowledge. If you have knowledge that someone else doesn't know, teach them. Please. Teach them like you were a 6th grader teaching a 2nd grader math. Make it simple, make it easy for people to understand. Knowledge. But the wisdom is needed. So those birds in that tree. The wisdom is needed today. You don't need a job. You don't need to make that your main focus. I know what they're trying to make you think. I know what they're trying to do with the economy. I know what the things that want to control us want to do. But they're going to have that goal forever. Let me tell you something. They're going to have that goal every single lifetime you're here. Every single lifetime. There's going to be something that's trying to lower your vibration. There's going to be something that makes you want to stay comfortable in the past. There's going to be something that makes it a distraction in your life. Just like I'm hearing dogs barking on both sides of my ears, but I'm still talking because it's wisdom. Right? That's what I'm talking about. There's always going to be something that tries to take you off track in your own life, in your own mission, in your own agreement with your spirit. But again, you agreed. You agreed because you knew you were capable, right? So, live the life that you're living. Live that life that you're meant to live. Let those experiences happen and release your ego. Because you may accidentally heal something that took 10 years to learn. That took 10 years of stubbornness. That took 10 years of unease for you to learn that lesson. Right? And again, and again, I will always tell you, even if it's online, but if you are a client, personal training, life coaching client, needs spiritual mentorship, needs advice, standing in a checkout line, I don't care. If you come up to me and you ask me, what can I do right now today to become calmer, to become more grounded? Barefoot on the grass, or walking barefoot on the grass, or putting your bare soles of your feet and palms of your hand face down on the dirt or in grass for a long time. Okay? That is the best advice anyone will give you, in fact. Because, again, we came from Earth. We came from Earth. And everything on Earth is here to help heal us. So the more time you spend in Earth, in nature, by a body of water, in a forest, grounding in meditation, you become enlightened and healed. And that is another story from Buddhism, because it was the historical Shakyamuni Buddha who took the time and became disciplined enough to remove themselves from society and meditate under a Bodhi tree, Bodhi. I will get this out. 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 I will. I promise. I'm going to keep walking and talking. I am. This is the end of your fence. And I'm going to keep talking. But they meditated, the Shakyamuni historical Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, now that I can think more, meditated under the Bodhi tree, Bodhi, and they meditated for long enough that their spirit was able to ascend. And they broke down the simplest way to live to be able to ascend as well. And that is instruction that is done through practice and grounding alone. And there are spirits in nature. I talk about the forest spirits, talk about Mother Nature. I greet them. I'm very open with the elements, respect to the elements. Something in my blood, again. I believe in respecting nature and having a relationship with nature. Not destroying it, not abusing it. Creating with nature, giving respect to nature. Not taking things and not giving an offering. I don't do that. I clean streams and parks and trash that I see. And I'm capable of doing so because of that. I respect nature because I respect my body. And I respect where I came from. And I respect the teaching of my ancestors. So, now, you understand how to be a balanced being. You understand how to be a balanced being now. You know the structures and the lenses and the concepts of life from this life. It's really simple to live your life in a way that brings harmony and mitigates, big word, suffering. So grounding, number one, meditation. The second way I would tell people to heal themselves, right? And art. Right after that, art. Poetry. For those, again, I don't even know if the people who follow me for poetry will watch this live, watch my lives, but who knows, right? Anything's possible. Literally, an example, how you turn a limiting belief to a positive belief. You flip the script. Anything is possible. So, Um, look at those pieces of bread for a second. It threw me off. Yeah, simple ways to live life, simple concepts, simple things that you do to create less suffering, to create less mental scattering, to create less things that you have to keep track of. Okay? The more you go outside in nature, the more you meditate, and the more you express yourself with art, the more balanced you will be. The more balanced your life will be, and the more balanced you will start to think. Okay? So many artists and musicians, famous writers, actors, screenplay artists, what is it? It's another one. Photographers, sculptors, so many people that are looked up to in history because of the way that they were able to express themselves in art. Right? There's a famous person in history for how they were negatively, what's the word? How they were negatively received from their art. And they decided to channel themselves in a different way, in a way that destroyed life. Okay? It's never the tool, it's how you use it. It's how you express yourself. It's how you intend to connect, intend to express, intend to show up in the world. Beautiful birds there, a little group behind if the camera doesn't catch it. But those things, the grounding with the earth, the meditation, and the practicing and expression of art, using art to express, using art to channel, using art to transform your pain, right? When you consistently do those three things, you become the healthiest and wisest and strongest version of yourself. Let me say that again. You become the wisest, healthiest, strongest version of yourself. Okay? You will have discipline over your body. You will have authority over your mind, and you will have balance in your spirit, in the way that you express yourself. Okay? That's how you overcome mental injuries. That's how you ascend from a demon to an angel. Okay? So many connections can be made, but that's putting it simply. That is how to be a balanced being. And I want to say from the bottom of my heart to the top of my higher heart, I appreciate everyone who has supported me, who has followed me, who has engaged with my content, even if it's one of those YouTube shorts instead of a YouTube live. That's fine. Perfectly fine by me. I posted a video of diced kiwi and diced pears, and that was the second most liked and viewed video, but YouTube short as well on my channel. So I just think it's funny how connections are made. But you know what? It's the intention, it's the expression, it's the flow, it's the release. Okay? And again, I will give people, no matter who they are, no matter where they're from, no matter what they believe, I will give them the wisdom and the knowledge Even if I just learned it. Again, if I just learned it. Knowledge or wisdom, I'll give it. I will give it. I will share. I will share. Because other thing is, I want the world to be in harmony more. I do not want Mother Nature or the universe to need to put a blood moon, lunar eclipse, full moon together. I do not need the Earth to spike Schumann resonances for a week and a half. I do not need for there to be the second largest earthquake scale saying on the I believe Richter scale is I believe the name, but I do not need the second largest earthquake scale to be happening, to be broken, to be anything. I don't need nature and the relationship that we have to this earth to get worse to make nature and the universe react. All right? Like I was saying about being psychic, I feel it before it happens. Okay? I either feel it or I sense it. You know, whatever term you want to use, but I feel it before it happens. So it's not something that always feels traceable either. I don't know why that person is yelling. But basically, oh my gosh, cicadas in that tree. It's not something that I like to say or announce, you know, but it's the truth. It is something that I feel very deeply. So, yeah, it's not something that I need the earth to keep putting in front of my face. So, respect to the earth, of course, but I really, really need people to continue and do similar things like what I'm doing with this channel, like what I'm doing with these lives, like what I'm doing in my own life. Learn the lessons and express yourself, please, because when you do it openly and in the public, it, number one, shows people the real you, obviously, but number two, it promotes authenticity. You want to know what the highest vibration is? You guessed it. It's authenticity. So the more authentic and truth-telling and truth-representing that people are, change happens on a mass scale. Enlightenment happens. Not like in a flash of a pan, not like in a once in a lifetime on this planet. Not like that. Long-lasting historical change. Long-lasting evidence, faith, and ascension. But most importantly, people become authentic. Because when you lose your authenticity, I don't think people ever talk about this, but when you lose your authenticity, you lose part of your humanity. So that's what's at stake. Everything that I've connected, boom, 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 boom. It's almost 2 hours of this live. But it's to let people know how everything is connected in a simple way. If you understand something on a simplistic, small level, it's easy to build a foundation from that. If you don't understand something and it's complex, or you feel like it has too many moving parts, you're going to fear it. You're going to step away from it. You're going to create distance. Right? So, make it simple. Make it easy to digest. Make it understandable. Make it approachable. But Above all else, make it authentic. And as I continue the end of this walk here, I want to say thank you to everyone again. And thank you for tuning in. That bright sunlight. If you are someone who watched the live and clicked off and heard a little bit of what I say, pay attention to it, I appreciate it. If you're someone who, excuse me, sorry. If you're someone who watched the live, listened to the recording, put it on in the background, and listen to what I said, thank you. I appreciate it. If you're someone who listened to 80% of the live or recording and you took something from it, thank you. Did it. And if and played it back and took notes and paid attention, someone who listened to the live, applied it to your life, grasped, that's what it's worth. That's what it's worth. Whatever you can grasp and use in your life to help you become more authentic and move forward. That's the goal. That's it. That's the intention. So I want to say, Etchepu to everyone, and peace be upon you.